We have continuous coverage all day long today. Many interviews coming up. We have a wonderful stop by. I was going to say drive by, but we're leading up to that. This is Alex Ward.
It's a very different game to what we did before with Burnout 1 or 2. You probably hear that a lot at the show and think it's a cliche. Hey, it's a whole new game. Burnout 3 it's a whole new Burnout experience.
Hello, you beautiful people out there. This is GTA M 2014. Now, what happened to GTA 5? I'm going to continue that later. I'm not done with that yet, but I'm going to continue it later. Maybe. But, the Burnout 3 Takedown Beta. Now, the GTA Beta is interesting, but the Burnout 3 one is kind of a bit more interesting. Now, I verified my YouTube account, so I am now allowed to upload videos over 15 minutes. So this is going to be a kind of long video, but not too long, since the Burnout 3 beta didn't have a lot of changes, but there were some interesting changes. However, I have to tell you something, because I actually contacted the co-director of Criterion Games, Alex Ward. I contacted him on Twitter since he posted 2 screenshots of the beta build of the original Burnout. This one was taken around March 2000, when it still was referred as Shiny Red Car. Since he posted all these screenshots, I tried to contact and message Alex Ward on Twitter, and I asked him if he had any beta build shots of Burnout 3, because I was, very interested. He replied saying yes. Now I sent him a message back, but he never replied back, so I don't think we'll see those beta build pictures in the future. Now I made my own page on the Burnout wiki, the Burnoutpedia, and I made my own page with the beta releases, because the Midnight Club wiki had a beta releases, and the GTA wiki had a beta releases. So, oh yeah, and the Postal wiki also had beta releases. So why not make one for Burnout? I have a lot of things to show you. Now I'm obviously not going to do the whole series, because why actually? So yeah, let's begin. This won't be as long, hopefully. Now, let's see how actually Burnout 3 kinda began. Now, every Burnout game is released year after year after year. Burnout 1, Burnout 2. However, Burnout 3 came out 2 years after Burnout 2. Now, why is that? Well, it's not only because of the hard work, but because of the publishing problem. See, Acclaim Entertainment published the Burnout series at the time. They published Burnout 1 and 2. And this was going to, and actually Burnout 3 was going to be released in 2003, but Acclaim went bankrupt. And Criterion had to search for a new studio that would publish their game. And they eventually headed to EA, and Electronic Arts actually wanted to publish their game, and that's how it all went. It was first announced that EA was going to publish their game around February 2004. But it's also partly because of hard work, because, it's a big game, and it was released in September 2004, and it was announced that they were going to work with EA in February 2004. So, now, the first trailer was released around the time when the EA publishing thing began. Believe it or not, the first trailer is actually the earliest footage of the game. The game was referred back then as Burnout 3 Crash plus Burn. Okay, so we've seen that trailer. Now let's begin with the information. However, I'm not going to put it in sections much like in GTA. So let's begin. For a start, Burnout 3 had some visual changes. There were more blur effects. Now, as you probably know if you've played the PS2 version, because the PS2 version has a lot more blur effects than the Xbox version, there are sun reflections on the road, there's sun reflections on your car, but there were also going to be sun reflections on like stop signs and stuff, so that was a visual change. But as you also seen in the first trailer, the game didn't have those blur effects. The game also used a different grinding effect. Here. The road textures also looked kind of different. And the game looked much less colorful than the final game. Also shown in trailer 1, these bars that block the road, well, recognize them? Yes, they were the exact same bars from Burnout 2. No change at all, the exact same. Now, this was changed to blue in E3 footage, but in the more final stages it turned in a reddish or orangish color. The HUD also had some changes. As you can see here, it had a different font, and the boost bar also had a lot of changes. In the first trailer it showed a Burnout 1 and 2 kind of look. The speed bar also looked different. When you crash in the game, there should be this bar above you saying, like there should be this bar, and there should be the impact time thing in there. However, in the beta version and in the PS2 demo, by the way, there is no such bar there, and the lower side of the screen, it showed like what happened in the crash. So that also is in the final game, but you also had this bar above you saying that you crashed. And in the lower part of the screen, there should be a yellow type font saying like if you crash into a van, it should say into van. If you did aftertouch takedown, it should say aftertouch takedown. So takedowns were going to be called knockouts, as shown in this kind of early script or something. I'm not sure what it is, but it's shown here. Knockouts. Also, you will also see a page here saying props. Now there are props in this game, but there aren't a lot of them. There were going to be more hittable props in the game, and if you would hit those props, you would earn boost. However, in the final game, when you actually hit props, you don't get any boost for it. However, as seen in the script-like thing, it showed that there were going to be more props, and that you would earn boost from it. The muscle type 1 had some significant changes. All up the way to the first trailer to the pre-release, it looked like this. The muscle type 1 had different rear lights, as seen here. All up the way from trailer 1 to the PS2 demo, to E3, to the PS2 demo, and to the pre-release. There are still pre-release trailers showing the beta muscle type 1. Also, it also had a gas tank shown in the first trailer. The sports type 1 front looked more like its real-life counterpart, the Ferrari 460 Spider. Now, what is funny though is that Criterion actually wanted to put licensed vehicles into this game, as shown in the E3 interview. However,
they don't like to see their beautiful creation being ripped and twisted apart.
That's literally what Alex said. But, yeah. The compact type 1 only had one exhaust instead of two exhausts. And this was probably since early development up until pre-release, because only the pre-release clips show the compact Type 1, and in those clips they show the compact Type 1 with only one exhaust. The logo had some significant changes, but as shown in the E3 2004, the PS2 demo, the logo had a Burnout 1 and 2 style font. Taking someone down, you got different results. As you can hear here, there's a bell kind of sound effect, like in a wrestling match or in a boxing match. This bell sound effect. The red X's, you see right here, they look different. However, in the first trailer, they were basically the ones from the final version. In E3 2004, they had strokes around them, around the outlines. You probably already knew about this. Now, there were composed songs made by Criterion that were removed because EA tracks existed which contain licensed songs, and the songs that they composed would probably just take some room. 2 of them can be heard in the game, but not all of them. All the beta songs from Burnout 3 were put in Paradise. When you start boosting, it had the Burnout 2 sound effect for it. This is probably just a placeholder. You know those weird sounds that you hear when you go into impact time? I really love them. They're just weird and fascinating. However, there were about maybe 2 impact time songs removed from the game. I haven't, in my like, how would I say, 7 years of playing Burnout 3, I have never heard this song, this impact time sound. The crash physics were really different. As shown in Trailer 1, E3 2004, and the PS2 demo, the crash physics were more realistic, but also were much more intense, especially with those damage models. They look really good. Too bad they removed that. If you've played Burnout 1 and 2 and Paradise, you know that you have those turn signals that you have in your car when you have to go somewhere. Burnout 3 was going to have the same. I think Criterion realized that turn signals were needed. I mean, there are road barriers. Like in Paradise, I could understand because there weren't even barriers showing you where to go, but in Burnout 3, they finally realized that the turn signals were needed. The same effect is still used by AI traffic. Now, Mountain Parkway took place in a different weather and different time, possibly. As you can see here, it's really sunny and not cloudy at all. I mean, in the final game, Mountain Parkway looks like this. So how can it look like this? Because Criterion changed it. This really looked much more exciting to drive, in my opinion, in that kind of weather. As shown in the E3 2004 interview, the truck selection map looked really different. In Winter City, as shown in Trailer 1, there are these weird lampposts that aren't in the final game at all. There were also a lot of road signs removed from Winter City. every time you won a race in the beta version, what would happen is it would display the text, "You did it if you won," and it would show a cinematic camera of your car driving. If you had critical damage in Road Rage, it would display the text, "One more crash left," instead of critical damage. The pillars in downtown also look different. These pillars are still used actually, but they're only shown past these road barriers, and they're not high texture. The lampposts in Alpine were different and looked a bit taller. There was some traffic cars removed, as shown in Trailer 1. This black car here, I haven't seen anywhere in game. Well, at least not in Winter City. The Compact Type 3 had a gray and a green color. When you were on the start line of a race, it was kind of different. Well, it was actually the same as Crash Mode. You would actually sit still and wait for the countdown to end. The location of the start line Alpine was different. The same with Winter City. The modified Muscle looked more like its final counterpart, the Dodge Viper. The modified Sport had a yellow color, shown in a lot of clips. There were more objects around Alpine. Examples are cabins and pylons on mountains. There was much more vegetation around downtown. When you got critical damage, you would see smoke effects rising from your car. The smoke effects actually look different in the beta. So, this was the Burnout Free beta. I hope you enjoyed and learned something. If you got any more information about the beta that isn't mentioned yet, then tell me in the comment section, please, because I would be very interested to hear them. Okay, anyways, bye guys! It would show a cinematic camera of your car driving.